Hi, this is Curt and welcome to another edition of Fire Law Roundup.
Okay, let's finish up in North Carolina. This is sad. This is the day that this is just where we are. But there's it appears that there's a volunteer fire department, who's just not able to do what it needs to do. And so I don't know why it gets to this, because I don't know North Carolina's law, but a county has filed suit against the volunteer fire company, alleging that it's breached its contract to provide services to meet minimum performance requirements. Now, performance is the word we're going to focus on, because they say, look, you don't have adequate staff. That I can understand. But one of the allegations they say is that you don't have a vehicle that carries 1,000 gallons of water or bring 1,000 gallons of water. Now, that's fine if you're in hydranted districts. A lot of these places only have 300, 500 gallon engines, right? Where I am, we have 1,000 gallons because we have a lot of non-hydrant areas. But so maybe it's the fact that they're non-hydranted, they don't have anything to get enough water, whatever that is. But I'm surprised it's a vehicle issue as well as a staffing issue. Normally you just see, okay, you don't have enough staff, you're not getting out. If that's the case, the fire department should look to merge or whatever. If they can't get out, they can't get out. It's just the unfortunate sign of the times we're at. And I'm assuming, I have no idea. I'm assuming there must have been some discussions prior to this between the county and the fire department saying, what are we going to do? You hope so. I have no idea, but you're going to see a lot of these. There's a lot of fire departments. You're going to see a major one coming out shortly. I won't comment anymore on that, but you're going to see a major one coming out in New York State. Similar, where a fire department saying we can't cover a certain type of facility, and it's not a failure in this case on fire department, but we are seeing, look, buildings are getting bigger, more complex. Electric vehicle fires are a whole, right? Lithium ion batteries are a whole new game, and sometimes these fire departments can't manage. If you have a nice rural area and you're doing 50 calls a year, and all of a sudden a hotel goes up in the middle of your area, you just change your fire protection needs. Right. And the fire company can't service that. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but in some sense, that's what happens. Or it's the opposite, that everybody's abandoning your area. There's nobody left. You have the fire protection contract, but you don't have people because everyone's moving. And people just aren't volunteering as much as they used to. So I feel for the fire company. I feel for the county. Not that this podcast is about feelings, but nonetheless, this isn't unique. I'm concerned. I'm confused why it has to get to a lawsuit. Why the fire company either admits we can get out or we can't get out. Numbers don't lie. You're either turning a wheel or you're not.
Yeah, I think there was the reason for the lawsuit was they wanted to, at least from the news article, and I searched for the case. I tried to find the complaint. I couldn't find it, but I think there was some concerns about dissipation of assets and, trying to control where the equipment went and stuff. So they want an injunction to basically preserve what's there for then whatever's going to happen after this, if it'll be a new department, new leadership, a merger or whatever it may be. But they didn't want to see the stuff start to disappear. I think
that makes sense. That makes sense. A lot of volunteer departments believe that they own the things, that even though they're incorporated, that, well, when we dissolve, the members take all the money. And I will tell you, that's probably 8 out of 10 people I speak to.
Really?
Oh, I'm not kidding. I don't mean 1 or 2 have this dumb thought.
They're not up on the IRS code, are they?
No. And yeah. And in New York State, it's even worse. You'll go to jail, as I'm guessing in many states, if you try to take the money from this corporation. But these are public funds or public trust funds. You can't just take them. But there are, I'm telling you, it is the serious majority of people in a fire department who believe this is our stuff and we will take it when we leave.
Well, you raise a good point. I know you've got a class coming up on volunteer fire company bylaws, and the IRS. I forget when. I was an attorney, so it was after 1985. But the IRS came out with new regulations and things that have to be in your bylaws. I think also your charter.
A lot of those came out during the Patriot Act after 9/11.
Yeah. And so there are things. So, and that what you're suggesting flies in the face of what the IRS is saying, that if you're a volunteer fire company under a 501c3 or 501c4, you cannot just take those assets, that the IRS, and then if not, you can lose your tax status, and God help you, if you lose your tax exempt status.
Right. And that happens all the time. That's a big part of our business, is getting that back for these departments. They just don't file tax returns. We're so far off on this, but if you don't file tax returns 3 years in a row, you lose your C3 status, and places just aren't doing it. I don't understand. But here, yeah, if you're a not-for-profit entity of any type, fire department or not, and you're dissolving, that's great, but you better go to a court, the attorney general, whatever in your state says. But if you're a C3 and you look at your certificate of incorporation, your articles of incorporation, whatever they're called in your state, you will see you had to add a line per the IRS after 9/11 that says, upon dissolution, a court of competent jurisdiction will distribute the assets, not you, and it doesn't go to your members. So, okay, so that very well may be exactly what's happening. They're trying to preserve it.